right. Good evening, folks. Let me get into the game here. Let's see. That. Hello, folks. How are you, Wabbit? And Eric. And I saw that Steve couldn't stay, but thanks to Steve for dropping in and at least saying hello. And he jumped the gun. He was here yesterday. I wasn't. But let me get some things under control here, and we can talk about some stuff for a little bit. Let me turn that down. And get all the rest of these levels reset for once we get back to it. I guess I'll tell you what all was playing what. We got, in no particular order on the sequence, Diva is doing that thing. Low swirly bits. And I had a whole, I'll come back to the next ones, but for the moment I'm just going to mute them out. And there's a drum sequence running. We'll get rid of that for now. Polybrute's doing this thing now. Just that simple arpeggio that I set up on the fly. And so that was that. And the thing that I was fooling with, I was fooling around today. So kind of jump ahead. And because we're going to talk about a few things tonight. One is yet another wavetable synth package thing, and yeah, Diva is fantastic. It has become, or is becoming, my go-to analog synth VST, and I put that in air quotes. So yeah, it's kind of become my go-to there. Excuse me. Why is it as soon as I start talking I have to hack and wheeze? Anyway, and no, I've never smoked in my, well, not recently anyway. I haven't smoked in years. So anyway, yet another wavetable synth thing is out there. I have some thoughts on the new Roland AIRA P-6, which I haven't touched yet, but I still have some thoughts. And then a couple other little things here and there. So before we get into the stuff, we're going to finish up on this. I was looking at this other thing. I was playing with this other piece of software. And I played with it a little bit, and then I get into, well, what can I do? Can I do something with this that I can't do with, say, Pigments? And then I went down the Pigment rabbit hole, and Pigments has kind of sort of been the backbone of tonight's jam. So I got 3 sounds the same in Pigments. So let's see. Here's one of them. You're hearing one of them. One of them was this kind of lead thing that I had layered with this bell pad or bell shimmer thing that I had layered with the Take 5. So by itself, the patch sounds like this. Let me get that out. What is still playing here? Oh, Diva. Let's get rid of Diva. And the Polybrute. There we go. Get those out. So I had this thing that I made. Became kind of the backbone of the whole shooting works. And I turned it down. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Too many channels. It's got to be here somewhere. Here we go. That's not it. Well, what did I do? What? There it is. something still layered with that, though. No, I guess not. Okay. So anyway, it's a pretty simple patch. Let me do this. Take the chat away for the moment because it looks terrible with the computer up, and we'll put the computer up next, and we'll get into, I'm going to take it full screen myself so I can see what I'm doing. And so we've been doing, I got 3 different versions of this thing called Bell Shimmer. And so the one that was kind of sort of layered with the Take 5 is this Bell Shimmer with sub. And edit preset and open. And it's really not a terribly complex thing. It's got a sample that's being granularized, and I've got actually 2 samples loaded that I'm bouncing back and forth between. And so if you watch in here, this area here, you can see how it jumps between the 2 samples. And I've got some interesting envelopes going, and an interesting thing with one of the envelopes, if I hold the note, you can hear it kind of goes to a horn kind of, from a bellish ping thing, tying kind of sound to a horn over time. If I re-trigger during that climb, it opens the filter up again for a moment and lets everything through, which is really kind of this neat little percussive beginning to each note if I'm holding it, or if I'm just playing notes. And so one of the first engine in here is the 2 granulated samples. Next is a wavetable. You know me, because it's got to be a wavetable, and that's what makes that. So there's the functions in Pigments, Wabbit. They're very cool. And I haven't used them more than once or twice. And, it's like, this patch is really simple. Not using any functions. I'm using one random. Not using any of the combinators. I haven't finished the patch yet, so the macros aren't assigned. I just started on this patch, actually, well, a little bit last night and a little bit today. So, and that added 3 versions. So this version also adds, in the utility engine, we've got some kind of a rain sound, and then this triangle wave oscillator in the utility engine, just to kind of give it's a couple octaves down, and it gives a kind of a sub bass thing going on. I really love the way that thing, it pops open and hits those keys. So that's the one version of the sound. And then the next version of the same thing is on, and actually when it's playing an arpeggio, it's playing a sequence right now, so I'll stop it and I'll stop the other one. The next one is the arpeggiated version. And except that I have it muted, we have to unmute it. So that's just using a very simple arpeggio within Pigments. It's otherwise almost the same patch. This version does not have the sub in the utility engine. That oscillator is turned off. But I did go into the sequencer and just set up a fairly simple fairly simple sequence, and I'm using the polyrhythmic mode, so everything's different lengths. One thing this doesn't do, though, this is not locked to key. So if I'm playing, like I'm playing in G minor, and this sequencer will throw in wrong notes. And you know what? I'm showing you this. So I'm looking at it big on the screen. I can't see what's on air. So that was going in there. You know, who we got there? Is that waveo or wavillo? Yep, it's a, you know, Pigments can be, you know, any number of different things. It's so versatile. So it's one of those kind of things. It's like, do you, you know, get into this whole thing, and this is part of that, you know, becoming a long series on, do we need other wavetable synths, you know? And so it's like, when I go back to that, it's like, you know, the gold standards that I put these other wavetables up against, and, you know, you can fault me for my choices, but one is Pigments and the other is Vital. And I know there are other excellent ones out there. A lot of people love Hive, and a lot of people love Omnisphere, and, you know, they're all good. But it just seems like every time I turn around, there's yet another wavetable synthesizer on the market, and it's like, really, you know, you're competing against things that are very hard to compete against at this point. But yeah, Pigments can be a sample player. It can be a wavetable synth. It can be an analog synth. It can be whatever you want, pretty much. And, you know, and it's relatively easy to use and get around. So the third sound from a version of this sound that was also playing in the jam, to move on, is just the plain bell shimmer. And I've got this one pitched down an octave, and it's playing an arpeggio from Stepic. We'll just go ahead and let it go. But it's that's the same patch, and the only difference between that and the other two, this one does not have the arpeggiator or sequencer, nor does it have the sub. And I've just pitched it down an octave to put it down in that low mid area. So that's for this, and that's using the pitch utility in Ableton Live. And I guess this one, I'm feeding it into Valhalla, but Valhalla is turned off. I'm only using the internal effects within Pigments. So that's the rundown on what was playing. Leads from the take 5, leads and that arpeggio came off the Polybrute. There was a little bit of opsix thrown in there, a new patch that I just did just before starting up tonight, which sounds like this. Let's make this go away. Now we can leave it in there. And that's playing from, we gotta turn it up. That is this sound. I really like the opsix for synth horns, among other things. It's really good at organs, and it's really good at getting angry at things. Makes some really nice angry FM sounds, I think. Unless you've spent a lot of time on the patch, I think it goes almost as hard as a Lyra 8 on a bad day. So, except it's a little more controllable about what you're actually playing. Anyway, it's really good too for things that are like sequenced lines and stuff like that. So that was the rundown. We'll come back to some of that stuff later. I've got all the mix all blown up, but I'll fix it and I'll play some more later towards the end of the evening. In the meantime, let's douse all the instruments, anything that's making noise. And we're going to look at yet another, as I said, yet another wavetable synth. And this one is something called Babylon 2. And it's, let's see if I can make it a little bigger. No, this is not resizable. So here it is. It's got 3 oscillators. Oscillators 1 and 2 have multiple modes. They can be a single shot waveform. They can be a multi-sample, or a wavetable. And where it starts to, where this actually does get unique is you've got this ability to load what they call a quad, which is 4 different waveforms, and you can move between them. And then it's got what they call the W lab, and this is where you can make your own waveforms and make your own wavetables. And it's serviceable. It does the job. And it's a good sound. I mean, it's not a bad sounding synth. Let's take a listen to a couple of presets. I'm just going to grab them kind of at random, but yes, that's fine. So we've got this guy. I think we've got this guy. Babylon 2 is turned on, but it is not playing because it's not turned on there. There we go. Pretty standard stuff here, you know. Oh, and I'm playing the demo version, so every so often it's gonna hiss at me. Hey, Crusader, ModWave also has the quad. Sort of. Wave State has a closer way of resembling this. The ModWave has 2 oscillators, each of which can have 2 waves. And you can sort of modulate between them, but it's really not that per se. But the Wave State does do a true move through the four waves. And so it's because the wave state was built on the reimagining of the wave station, which was kind of a vector synthesis kind of synth. The mod wave is more based on the DW series synths, which were single shot waveforms. And you could in each layer you can mix 2 of them, and so you can fake going between all 4 waves, but it's not inherent on that series. And again, when you start getting into the mod wave, takes that DW architecture and kind of blows it up, and makes it more flexible than the original DWs were. Uh-oh. I've got another channel that I'm kind of sort of monitoring here, and he's coming on right now. Well, I may talk about that in a little bit. He's making an announcement tonight. I want to see what's going on. So anyway, let's get back to what we were doing, and I'll keep an eye on him. And if it's important or looks good, I will. Miami Vice? Nah, not exactly. Something like that, though. Anyway, so different kinds of sounds. It's got some nice pads. You know, I think this one was a nice one. So it's a nice sounding synth, you know. I will definitely say that, except for that silly, you know, hissy thing from the demo version. But And there's, you know, a whole slew of different presets and different kinds of sounds. It can do some nice stuff. It's a nice synth. You know, funky leads and um, you know, in the demo version, not everything's here, so it's a little it gets you get a little cramped. I think there's a lot more presets in the full version, but the idea is to give you an idea what the thing sounds like. Anyway, lots of stuff, and so anyway, you've got your two primary oscillators, like in Pigments. There's oscillator 3, which is less functional. It's got more basic waveforms. I mean, there's still a fair number of waveforms in here. Don't get me wrong, but there's, you know, it's a little more limited in what you can do with them and whatnot. Because, you know, when you get into these main oscillators, this whole section here is really hard to see. But this whole section here that I'm mousing through is an oscillator. So you've got your wave source, you've got your you can modulate around in the wave depending on what type it is. You've got, you know, types of modulation, pitch control, unison control, amp control, and so, you know, that's all there twice. You've got a noise source, and it's got 8 different kinds or a bunch of different kinds of noise. You've got a fairly decent effects section down in here. It's got reverbs, delays, EQ, a 3-band EQ, chorus, phaser, distortion, lo-fi, filter. They all sound good. So yeah, everything here sounds good, you know, and everything's got. Let's see, in the modulation, you've got 2 LFOs, you've got 4 ADSR envelopes. You've got a dedicated vibrato with its own envelope, so you can have your vibrato fade in or whatever you want. The amp envelope is separate from all the other envelopes, so these 4 envelopes are freely assignable. The 2 LFOs are freely assignable. It's got a single filter, so all of this, and we've got 1 filter. And Crusader, I'm going to come to that, because I'm showing you what all it's got. It's got a mod matrix. The mod matrix has 8 slots. Okay, there's, you know, key tracking, 2 different key tracking modes. The performance thing here lets you see pitch bend, mod wheel, glide, and velocity settings. There's an arpeggiator. It is fairly basic, but it gets the job done in kind of a unique way. It's not a bad arpeggiator, and so it's got a lot of nice pieces. And as Crusader brings up, you know, it's on sale at the moment, and we'll get to that too. I'll talk about the way their sale works. So I'm going to pull out my list here, though, and we'll talk about some things. Let me mute that hissy thing so it doesn't go bother us anymore. And let's chat here. Yeah. So got my list. Last week it was on my phone. Now it's on my iPad. We went through. It's got the unique oscillator modes. We will get back to those in just a second. Nice arpeggios, as I said. The mod matrix, in my opinion, is too small. I would like to have more mod slots, but then again, it's not necessarily the end of the world, because you do have dedicated envelopes or dedicated controls for a few things that ordinarily would need to live in the mod matrix. The modulation routing, actually, let's go back to that. And so the modulation routing In most modern VSTs, and I'm sorry I can't make it bigger. The interface is not resizable. So this is the size that it is. In most modern synths, I should be able to or would be able to grab the output of LFO1. I could take that, and let's say I wanted that to modulate the wave position X, the wave position in the wavetable. I would be able to click on this and drag it up there and drop it. But there's none of that going on. In order to make that change, I have to set up my LFO, go to the matrix, and say my source is LFO1, my destination is oscillator 1 position X. Here's an amount. And with Vital, you just drag it over there and spin the knob, and you've got your amount. You right click, and you can set up whether it's going to be bipolar or not, whether it's stereo or not. None of that's here. So the modulation matrix to me is a little weak, and the modulation routing is a little weak. And something's happening here. What did he do? There's another guy. He's been waffling for 3 weeks or more now on buying a new synthesizer, and he's revealing tonight what he got. And what the devil is that? Part of me is tempted to load this up and put it on screen, but oh, he didn't. Silly boy. Okay, anyway, yeah. So let's see. I'm done with that. I mentioned the editor for waveform. Let me back up here. So no drag and drop mod routing. Another thing that I find frustrating is in the quad mode. Okay, if you look real close right here, there's a little crosshair, and if I move the X position, you see it moves across. If I move the Y position, it moves up. All this kind of thing. One would think that Pigments is close to the standard, yes. One would think, though, that I should be able to grab this little crosshair with the mouse, and drag it around. I click on it, nothing happens. Release the click, and a menu comes up. So it's like, that's a boat missed, a big boat missed. And like exposition. Thanks, Mike. So I'm not sure what they were thinking. So actually, what does this do? Maybe it's going to make a liar out of me. Nope, I'm not. It's not making a liar out of me. So I wanted it to make a liar out of me. I like the sound of this. It's a good sounding VST. As I said, only one filter. To me, that's another drawback. I'd like to have at least 2 filters. I do like that it's got 3 oscillators and a noise source, and they're all separate. I think that's excellent. I like that's one thing that I do like. There are 2 LFOs. That's sufficient. Would like more. Vital's got 8. I think you can stuff in there. So we were talking about what the standard is. That standard to me is a toss-up between Pigments and Vital. And I'm going to say Vital over a lot of the other big boys in that arena because Vital you can have Vital for nothing if you don't feel like paying for it, although I'm going to pay for it, and I suggest that people do because the guys put a lot of work into it, and it really does the things. It does a nice job of doing the things. And so you've got in Vital, you've got a whole stack of LFOs, a whole stack of envelopes. They're all freely routable. You drag them around, you do what you want to do. and for nothing if you feel that way. Also in Vital, you can drag your own wavetables or waveforms into it. Just drag it and drop it on the interface. It's there. You can't add anything to this. It is what it is, as near as I can tell. So, Wabbit and I are on the same page with this one already. We're passing. Now, here's the thing. Their pricing is kind of interesting. The regular price on this thing is going to be $100. I don't think it's worth $100, honestly. Again, with the competition being what it is, and at the prices, yes, some's a little more expensive, others are less expensive. But the competition being what it is, I don't think this is a good value at $100. Right now, until they sell 2,000 copies of it, the price is $19.99 or something like that, $20. When they sell 2,000 copies of it, the price goes up to $40. And it'll be $40 until they sell 4,000 copies of it, at which point it goes to full price or $99. So my opinion, is that if you want a wavetable synth and you're on a really tight budget, grab Vital. When you get the cash, buy the base version at $25. That would be my opinion in that arena. So that's Babylon 2. It's called. It's by WA Production. There is a link down below to get to their page. If you do decide you want to take a closer look, try it for yourself. I mean, that's the other thing, don't strictly take anybody's word for it, because we all have our own uses and our own needs, and this may be somebody else. This may be absolutely perfect for, it's just not, it's not my thing. It's, so it's, that would be my opinion, and like I said, it's not a bad thing, but I don't think the value is there, especially once the price goes up above what it is now. And again, especially since there are other things out there that are free or comparably priced, or maybe only a little bit more, that do a heck of a lot more. So that is that. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to close the. Oh, no, I should have been able to move it. There we go. Close the window that you can't see. I'm actually even going to delete the track from the project for tonight. And trying to look at this at a quarter size screen. There we go. It's gone. Okay. Next item up on the agenda for the evening. For those who are following, sports fans, the fellow that I was talking about who's revealing his new synth tonight is Synth Samurai. And he got what I guess is a pretty good deal on a gently used Juno X. So that's what he bought, for those who are interested. For those who aren't, it's still what he bought. And he's playing with it and getting his first, he went and picked it up yesterday. And he says he didn't touch it, but, anyway, that's that. Next item. No, he didn't. No, not Behringer. He bought the actual Roland Juno X, is what Samurai bought. He did not buy a Behringer. So that, and honestly, there wasn't even a Behringer in his current list of things that he was looking at, which was also kind of surprising to me. But that being said, that's that. So let's see what else. Oh yes. So speaking of Roland, Roland released. He's slipping. I'll tell him you said that, Wabbit. He's looking. I'm watching the video. I've got it sitting down on the desk on my phone, and I'm watching the video. He's really animated. He's having a good time sliding the knobs and sliding the faders and moving the knobs. So that's good for him. But again, speaking of Roland, they released the new shiny little gizmo in their AIRA line, and actually, let's see here, the new P-6 sample groove box thing. I am going to drop the chat out because I want to talk about the thing a little bit. So let me find the picture that I want, or the pictures that I want, and get them up here so that we can look at them. There it is. There's a picture of it, and you know, it's the demos, videos of it that I've heard. It sounds really nice, and the functionality seems really good. It seems to me that it's got the standard Roland sequencer in it. It's got a lot of the standard Roland stuff. It's crippled by the 4-character display, but all the AIRAs are like that. And they've actually, I think, done a pretty good job in the ones that I have physically looked at. They've done a pretty good job of making that usable. So it seems to me like a pretty decent thing, but it reminds me a lot of this in a lot of ways. It's kind of sort of like they squashed down in size and in some way features the electron model samples. It seems to be the machine they're going after, and I have a model samples and I like it. I don't use it as much as I used to, but it's a decent machine, and I've only got one gripe. Hey Tracy, I've only got one gripe about the model samples, and that is that you can't save an entire song. You can save individual sequence bits, but you can't chain them together and make a complete song out of it. So I mean, so again, this looks like a pretty decent little box. I don't know. I haven't found enough information on the sequencer to know if you can do chaining or not. Probably not. A lot of it functions the same way. But where this wins, in my opinion, is they've got a real sampler in it, and they've got they've got a granular synth engine. And we all know how I feel about granular synth engines. I mean, me, I love a granular synth. So there it is. They've got a granular synth in the thing. And, so for, a couple $120. Does model samples have line in? No. It does not have line in. It's, if you want to add samples to it, you have to transfer them over to it and manipulate them from there. You can't even do like a line pass through kind of situation. So the synth, it's a basic granular synth. It sounds decent. No, it's not. Any number of other granular synths. It's not Pigments. It's not got the synth engine from Pigments, but it's I would it's functional, and like I said, from what I've heard, I've liked the sound. I have not yet touched one, and so I'm gonna my final judgment on it won't happen until after I actually touch it. But I think for the money, for $220, it's seems to be very well feature packed. The sound quality is typical Roland, which is good. This whole series is battery powered, and that's monstrous to me. You can take you can take the thing and you can go out and play for 3 hours. On the batteries, and in your headphones, and off you go, sit in the woods and make some sounds. I think that it just, again, based on what I've heard, what I've seen, is I think that it would make a great. This combined with the S1 would be a heck of a lot of fun. I think the other ones in the line, they're nice, they're cool, but they don't wow me quite as much. Let me see what the other thing was. The only thing I see there is a limited number of instrument presets. I think you're limited to 48, and you can't have different presets of a sound for different sequences or different patterns. And you're limited in the number of patterns and sequence or patterns in the thing too. It's only 48, I think it is. But for that little bit, not a bad, I think not a bad package. You have pre-ordered it, Wabbit. I will be interested to know how you feel about it when you get it. They're fun. My local Synth Emporium has some of the others in stock. I've gone down and played with them. If you've got big fingers, big hands, they're tight, they're tiny. I mean, they're the size of a VHS tape, basically, if you remember what those are. But this is the kind of thing that I could see myself owning one, maybe. Don't know for sure, but I could see myself owning one maybe eventually. This and the S1. Those are the ones that I like from what I've seen the most. But Wabbit, the key is that you've hit the key. Fun. And that's, if you're not having fun with this stuff, then what are you doing? Making music is supposed to be enjoyable. And, so who am I to tell you how to do it? And then, so the only other thing that I want to actually chat about is, let's see. I haven't had time to download it and play with it yet, but I kind of got excited. Polyend added all of the trackers got firmware updates, and depending on which model you have, you get different new features. The most interesting one to me is, since I have an original generation tracker, the thing that makes me most interested is it's now got 4 more MIDI tracks for external devices, which is pretty cool. So that's definitely going to be coming back out of storage to play with some more over in the playpen area. It's got I do like the little bit that I've played with it so far, and I've had it for a year now or something like that. But the little bit that I've played with it so far, I've come to grips pretty well with the tracker workflow, and it's I'm not an expert about it by any means, but it's fun. I did not expect spreadsheet music to be as fun as it is. So, and that was always my objection to trackers back in the day was, it's like using a spreadsheet, and I do that at work. So there's that. A couple other interesting looking things out there in the world. Let's see, do I have pictures of this? Let me see if I've got a picture. I can't remember if I grabbed a picture of this or not. No, I didn't. There's a new, as you know, I'm kind of a fan of the Zoom mixers. I've got the L12 that's sitting up at the band practice spot. I've got the L20R, which is my studio mixer and interface. They floated a video on their official channel about a little version that I think goes up against the Behringer Flow as far as competition. It's called the L6. If it's anywhere near as decent as the 12 and the 20 that I've got, it's got multi-track or multi-input USB audio interface capabilities. I think it's I think it's a total of actually 8 in, and probably stereo mix too. So I mean, a total of 10 in and 2 or 4 out, which, you know, for a small portable thing, is a great little deal. Let's see. You'd like to see better video? Yeah, I'd like to see a better video of the L6 as well. You know, having had experience with other L models, I can kind of guess what a lot of the features are going to be and how they're going to work. But yeah, until we actually see one, you know, in more than just a couple-minute video that's out there, hard to say what's really going on with it. But it definitely looks intriguing. They say, so I guess as far as playing with an iPad, I guess the question is, what level of playing with an iPad are you looking for? My understanding is that they're going to have an app for it that's similar to what they have for the L20, although obviously with not as many channels and whatnot. It's very interesting the way they have done things with the L series. The others in the L series, Wabbit, do work with iOS devices for inputs and outputs. In different, each one in its own way, you know. But they do have class compliant modes, so you can get audio in and out of an iPad. The other thing that I'm going to guess, just given the size and the lack of physical controls that on the L6 that they've shown, I'm guessing that there's going to be some sort of app kind of like this. And this is the app for the L20 and L20R, and of course the camera doesn't want to focus real well on it, but you know, basically I've got all the control that you would ever want, and again, I'm guessing this is going to be more in here than what's in the L6, but you know, you've got I got channel strip controls, I've got effects and monitor sends. The effects are kind of limited. There's 2 effects, and I think the L6 is going to have 1. And they're very limited. They're preset effects, but you can choose an effect, and they sound decent. And then there's a master graphic equalizer as well. So, and I didn't think, you know, if I'd thought about it, I'd actually hook this up so I could have the video from this on the screen. But I didn't think about it. Sorry about that. Go back there so I have control. And so you get a snapshot of all the things that I had shown you, you know, in the master view. So above the faders, there's the channel mutes and solo buttons, and then the one above the red line is the channel mutes. In this particular scenario, everything is muted because I'm using it almost strictly as an audio interface. So I don't really want the main outputs doing anything besides the only thing that's up in the main channel outputs that's active right now are these 2, which are the returns from the L20 from the PC. So I'm running all audio through the PC, all the mixes through the PC through Ableton Live. So anyways, this has got scene recall, and I think there's like 3 or 6 scenes or something like that on the L6. So it looks like it's going to be a nice little package. It is very similarly spec'd anyway, based on what we've seen, to, like I said, the Behringer Flow 8. Which, by the way, if you're looking for that kind of thing, the Flow 8 is actually pretty good too. It does work with... Behringer, sorry. It does work with an iPad as well. In fact, it's designed to work with an iPad, and there's an app for it. And if it were powered up, I'd log in and show it to you. I do have one of those, and it's, like I said, it's a nice little mixer. I got it for something, and then the project grew to size larger than it can handle, which is why I bought the L12. Excuse me. So that's that. The other another thing that resurfaced, there is, let's see, have the blue box. If you've got the blue box, oh, but it's only got stereo in and out to the iPad. Yeah. So it's downstairs at the moment. If you want a bus powered on an iPad, reasonably portable, multiple in, multiple out interface that works with iOS, look at the Mo2 M series. The M4 is 4 in, and the M6 is 6 ins, and they work perfectly. They're class compliant. They plug in USB-C, and boom, they go. And I've tested them with my iPad Air 5. I don't remember if I've tested them or not with the iPad 10 or the Air 2. But I know they work with the Air 5 and I'm sure newer. I don't know what iPads you've got, Wabbit, but those, like I said, I know it works with the newer ones and works well. So that's an alternative for you too, and they're really nice. Mini fuse, mini frustration. So the mini fuse, they were really intriguing because I one of the things that I really liked on paper about those is the USB scenario. I mean, the larger ones have got a USB hub on the back. It's only a couple of ports, but it's better than none. So you get one cable to a laptop or supposedly an iOS device, and then you can hang a MIDI controller off of that, and you've got a nice little. You should have a nice little system, and but you're saying it's frustrating, which is kind of sad because Arturia really usually does such a nice job of stuff like that. But anyway, like I said, the M series does work nicely with iOS, or at least when I tested it, it did. Everything's subject to change without notice in the world of anything computer-like. So. The other thing that I saw came across my YouTube feed. I'd almost forgotten about the thing. For seemingly forever, Korg has had the MicroKorg out, and then the MicroKorg XL, which was kind of like a dumbed down, and I don't want to say dumbed down, but maybe streamlined, I guess is a better word, version of the MicroKorg. But you can't. It was hard to me. It seemed harder to get around. I didn't like the MicroKorg because they, mostly for aesthetic reasons, because they tried to cram everything in the world on the front panel, and you can't read it. So you got all this tiny type on a tiny keyboard or a tiny instrument with a zillion functions, and you can't see what you're doing. So last year, right around Super Booth last year, they floated the MicroKorg 2, I think they call it. Yeah, the MicroKorg 2. There was a splash for a few weeks, and it disappeared from the world. And I thought it was a really I thought it was a really nice upgrade or new version or remake of the MicroKorg because it was streamlined but in a good way. Still retained all of the functionality of the original MicroKorg, but like I said, streamlined in a good way. It sounds good, blah 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 blah, all the good things. But after a couple 3 weeks after Super Booth, it basically vanished. And I look for it periodically for new videos or new news of it or anything periodically, and it's just not been out there. Yesterday, I think it was, yesterday or the day before, caught a video from a guy in Japan. He's got one and he's playing with it. Now, I have no clue what he's saying because the whole video is in Japan and the subtitles are in Japanese. So I have no clue what he's saying, but he plays with it. He plays it on the thing. Still sounds great, and kind of gives me hope that we might see one day. And I linked that video down below as well. If you know Japanese, or if you can understand Japanese, you go watch it and then tell me what he said. You know, so that would be that. And then the only other new news this week, thanks Wabbit sending me down another Wabbit hole. There's another new wavetable capable synth thing out there. This one's more sample based, but there is I found it as I was watching through, there is a wavetable function in it as well. It's called wavea, and it's called Flite, and it's by a company called wavea, and or wavea, and it looks interesting. It is on its surface, and again, I've watched 20 minutes of video on the thing, so that's all I know about it to this point. I will know more next week. But it's a sample-based. It's a sample player. I'm trying to come up with a way to describe it quickly. Wabbit, you saw it. You can type something in the chat there. It's got several layers of sample playback, limited to its own samples, of dozens and dozens and dozens of classic vintage synthesizers. There is also a synth engine in it as well, and an effects section, and there's two versions. There's the light version, which I think they call player, and it's exactly that. It's a player, and you can download that for free and have access to all of as they come out. You'll have access, from what they're saying, they'll have all of the like SynthMaster Play versus SynthMaster, or Player versus the full SynthMaster. So I'm going to download the free version and see what it's like, play with it. The video that I saw, the synth engines themselves look pretty decent. They're not hugely complex, but it's got the things. There's two filters, there's modulators and all that kind of stuff. It seems well thought out. The user interface looks nice. It's pleasing. So I'm going to download the free version, and it took me a while to find it, but there is the full version is $100. So like I said, I'll download the free version and play with it, and we'll talk about that next week. It's on my list for next week. So back to Babylon. Selling point is microtonal scale tuning. Hey Jeff, welcome. Okay, so that's a that can be interesting. Microtonal can be interesting. I don't know. I don't know for sure about. I'm going to bring the computer back on screen. So let me get rid of the chat, because, like I said, it looks horrible with that. I'll bring the computer back. I'm going to put it up full screen, and let me grab one of these Pigments instances. I think you're right, though. I don't think there is a microtonal function within Pigments. Pretty sure I'm actually quite certain you're right about that, unless it's over here buried somewhere. I got master tuning, voice mode. Yeah, I think the only way you could do it in Pigments, you could. I'm certain that you could do. You could put some sort of filter if you're in Ableton. It'd be a Max for Live or something like that. Pigments does have it. Okay, thanks, Electric. I don't know where it is, but if I will believe you that it has it. I would say if it doesn't have it, you'd have to pre-process it, the MIDI, and send it in. You know, it's yeah. Tell us where. I've got it up on the screen. Tell me where to move my mouse. I mean, I'll look here in sample. I got detune. But I don't see, you say under, you know, microtuning is not the same. You can import your own microtonal settings. So you can import your own scales, essentially. Because when you start getting into microtonal, I mean, we're talking about being able to have notes between the notes, so to speak. Or completely, you know, a completely altered scale that doesn't have any notes that we know about in it. Watch the demo for, yeah, okay. Do it in real time, no need to import. Let's do this, because actually I took the track out, but I can always put it back. So if we go into Babylon, really? Stop. The heck is that coming from? Stop. Apparently, remember the last, it loads, okay, so it loads up, the first thing that comes up, the default patch is an ARP. Cool. That'll get your ears going if you're not careful. No, this is learning stuff though. So you know, this is cool. I like learning stuff. So if we can learn about this, watch the demo for Babylon, so you can do it in real time. No need to import. All right, I'll have to go back and look at that. So that would be one of two things that this then does bring to the table. But like I said, the one thing that it brings to the table, this quad mode, to me is kind of a miss because I can't, you know, I can't, I got to set up some sort of weird controller. Now, I'm lucky in that I have, you know, the Polybrute, it's got the Morphe, and I could use the Morphe, I could use MIDI from the Morphe to map to position X and position Y, and use that to control this. It does not work with a trackpad on a computer. I can tell you that. Because I have tried that, and I was very disappointed that I couldn't do that. And this also, the other thing too is, again, I'll have to go back and look at the video about that to see how that works. But here it is. It's right here. I remember this now. Yes. So yeah, you can go tune every key, every note individually. Yeah, so that is the, like I can, let's see, let me get this playing. Route it to the synth bus. And unmute it. So yeah, I can play C. And I can take C. Well, it says I should be retuning C. sorry guys, that's what you get for that's what we get for the demo version. I may have to go in here and say I've got my choices of scales, octaves linked, major. It's got a lot of different scales, which is really cool. I do like that. Should have said that. I do like that. And it's got some off-the-wall ones. At least to a Westerner like me, it's got some off-the-wall scales. That is really annoying. Let me turn that down while I'm screwing around with this. So I'm supposed to be able to grab these guys and retune them. So we're locked to C major. And I can choose all these things, and it shows all the notes. But I'm like, so I'm not hearing any change. Oh yeah, I am a little bit. So it's. But it's only 100 cents each direction. So you can bend a note out by 100 cents. So anyway, there's that. Pigment now supports MTS ESP compatibility if you're using MTS ESP master in your session. Microtuning settings will be replaced with MTSP. Okay. Yes, and there you go, Jeff. Only 12 notes per octave. So, and if you're like me, you want to play with. There's other stuff you might want to play with. So, and again, I'm sitting here fooling with the demo version. Oh, I see what you can do. So you can unlink the octaves and move between them and rescale. So I can throw D off here, and it's not thrown off in this octave. So you can sort of, but if you can only go 100 cents per note, or per note, you're not going to be able to get 15, 16 notes in an octave. So 23 E to woo. This is really annoying. So anyway, that you can kind of sort of break tuning a little bit. That's cool, but I don't think it's quite enough anyway. The way they do it, if you really want to get into true full microtonal, tuning. That said, there's a lot of scales here. I've never even heard of some of these things. So, they got all the standard ones, and then some of the less standard ones. Enigmatic, what the heck is that? Oh, that's almost 1, 2, 3. Interesting. I'm going to try and do some stuff. I don't know what options there are, Crusader, for fully microtonal VSTs. I want to try and do some stuff in hexatonic whole tone scales. Now, the thing about that is there are only 2 of them. Heinbach's plugin, that's right, that does it. There are only two whole tone hexatonic scales. C and F are the only 2 that you get. But that's that. Let's see, what do I have? I've now lost track of what I've got on the screen. So, I've got that on the screen. Okay, go back to that and that. Yes, okay, cool. Not interesting enough. Yeah. The thing is okay, Turkish is microtonal. Okay. And I think actually a lot of the Eastern European into Middle East, and I think a lot of those scales are not based on our 12 notes. Let's put it that way. If you're really getting into it from and it may not be on purpose. You know, I'm perfectly happy with the notes that we've been given. I just like to use them in different ways. So anyway, yeah, we could go into that. That's some weeds we could really go into as far as that goes. You know, we can really get into the weeds on the on microtonals and alternate tunings and all that kind of stuff. Not well tempered, if I yes. Yeah, well tempered, which is terrible. You know, what a terrible thing to do to an instrument. So let's see. Anything else? Because it's an hour and 20 in. What is my Heinbach's called? Who did he publish that through? A microtonal ninja. Oh, jeez. There's. Can we? Yeah. It would have to be in C, Jeff. I'm not sure what I'm looking around. Well, okay, so I'm looking to see what of my stuff here supports that. The Turkish company. That's funny. So I can do microtonal stuff inside the Take 5. Right in the synth in hardware, which is cool. I've never tried playing with it, but apparently you can set up your entire. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them that you can load, but that they send, but you can actually apparently edit your own. I've never tried it. Everything produces keywords, so uses well tempered. Yes, mostly yes. Unless you choose an alternate tuning. You can do you can tell I can tell the Take 5 to do just tuning or equal tempered or any number. There's a whole bunch of different alternate tunings in here. Let's see here. Let me see what we got here. Real quick. If I can do it quickly, I'll show you. If not, there's fine tuning. Let's see. I think the last time I tried to do this, I don't know that I have all the tunings loaded. I think the last time I did this, I confused the heck out of it. Okay, here we go. So in the box, it's got here. Let me. Wabbit, we're going to do a camera move. I'm going to move the PTZ camera. I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to let you guys see while I'm doing it because it's dizzying. And I want it to be quick. So, come on, tilt up. There we go. Tilt up, tilt up, tilt up, tilt up, tilt up, tilt up. That is as close as I can get. I could swear I got closer to that before. That's weird. Oh, here it goes. Come on, focus. Focus, focus. Focus, focus. I'm fighting with the remote. I need my one push. Oh, come on. All right, it doesn't seem to want to focus tonight. On this, I can usually focus real close on the Take 5. Come on. Well, I think the battery in the remote may have died. That's not good. Because now I'm looking at something I don't want to look at. Ugh. Oh, the joys of technology. I don't have any batteries here in the studio. Shoot. All right, well, that's the end of that. Anyway, so I got as far as scales, I've got a harmonic A1 through 60, harmonic A12 tone, mean tone, quarter tone equal tempered. I wonder if it'll play it. Because like I said, I don't know that I have these loaded correctly. Oh yeah, there we go. That's some stuff. Let's see this thing. Just microtonal, much more available these days. Rarely standard. Not a tuning, not a tuning rabbit hole. Yeah. 5,000 Scala files in that main download. Wow. But yeah, so this is quarter tone equal tempered. That was an octave that I just played. And oh, I turned the wrong thing down. You can't hear me well anymore. There we go. Let's see what else we got. 19 tone equal tempered. So I can do a heck of a lot with the Take 5. That's really cool. The last time I tried this, it didn't work. Now I've done a couple firmware upgrades since I tried that. 31 tone. Neat. Pythagorean. All kinds of stuff. Let me get this back where it belongs so I can play out. Play some chords. Okay, yeah. What? Let me grab. So here's the quarter tone, and I'm going to play what would be a C major triad, or try to. I mean, let me get this in. This patch is unison. Oh. It may not let me. Let me see something. Let me get out of. Oh, this is one of the things that it did before. Oh, I know why. There we go. Now back to here, and you can't see what was going on there because I've lost control of the camera. But basically, I had to come out of the global menu to be able to control the panel again. So here we're in quarter tone. I'm going to play what would be a C triad in equal tempered. So that would be the keys that were C, E, and G. Second inversion, F second inversion. A D major, So yeah, that gets weird. Yeah, big open voicings would work better, more like a guitar. So let's do. Here is an A minor. Inverted. We'll do A minor, spread out across keys here. Up to an A. That gets pretty weird pretty fast. Let's do we'll do a C7 spread way the heck out all over the place. Now actually, if I go back to that A minor that I did before, let's see. How did I voice that? That wasn't it. Blow for the grade crossing. Although if you that sounded a little bit like a train horn, but train horns are actually tuned to proper notes, and what makes them sound like they're out of tune is is all the harmonics and stuff that are going on. Let's try another one of those. That was the quarter tone equal tempered. I'm going to pick another. I'm going to try that 31 tone, and we'll do that that broken up C7 again. So there's a sound for you. Might have to do a microtonal day just for absurdity. Yeah. Oh, the Doppler. Oh, yeah. So here we go. Well, it's not the Doppler effect that makes them sound like they're out of tune. It's actually all the harmonics. There's a whole science of train horns. Train horns used to be my life, quite literally. Someday maybe I can be coerced into talking about it again. But the Doppler effect sound would be kind of like this. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta come out of there first to do that. Hang on. Except the pitch bend range is too wide right now. So that's that effect of the perceived wavelength changing as the train goes by you. The waves are compressed and decompressed as the train goes by. Makes it sound like the pitch is altering, when in fact the pitch is actually constant. So. You know, that's okay. It's okay. You know, this is the kind of stuff though that, you know, this is neat stuff. So, you know, what the heck? Let's have. The idea is to have fun. I am going to try and see if I've got another couple batteries in the room though, because looking at this out of focus screen is making me crazy. I don't see any more double A's. Shoot. The double A's are all in the refrigerator. I'll do the definition of insanity and try the same batteries one more time. Or maybe the camera just stopped responding. Oh, yeah. The camera's actually not even pointing where I'm seeing on the screen. What the heck? Interesting. Let's try this. All right. I might be able to get the camera back. Pardon me for just a moment. Let me let the equipment make some noise, or try to. I have no idea what it's going to do. Turn some things up. Because, yeah, now I have lost control. Okay, I'm going to power cycle that camera and see if I can't get it to come back to life. Excuse me just a moment. Let's see what it does. What you can't see is that it is going through its boot up sequence. Sort of. Interesting. Oh, I don't know what's it doing. So it's reset, but I don't have any picture from it. Interesting. And definitely not good. Hope it's very dark. Okay, here we go. We're coming back to life, I think. Maybe. Nope, it's just giving me some weird graphic. It's not even... Well, that's interesting. All right, well, All right, well, I think I'm going to probably... That's what makes music future-proof. Yeah, 200 and... Oh, cool. Awesome. 201 subs. Broke 200. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. That's great. And so having lost that camera, there's not much exciting I can show while I'm playing out. So I may just call it a night. Thank you, everybody. Unless there's anything else we need to talk about real quick. Piano Tech will play Scala. Okay, maybe. And thank you for the congrats on 200 and 201. I appreciate that. Cool. All right. Yeah, unless there's anything else that we feel like we need to talk about, I'm going to go figure out what's wrong with my camera, I guess. And thank everybody for coming. And you have a good one too, Jeff and Crusader and Electric and everyone else who is still here, who's scrolled off the top there. I appreciate you all coming by and spending time with me this evening. Tracy, thank you. Have a great night. And we will see you all again here in a week. Next week, I will get the demo or the free version of Flite, and we can play with that a little bit. So that'll do it. Thanks, guys. I do appreciate it. And I have to push buttons I wasn't ready to push. Oh no. Take that out and do this and do this and do that and that. And now I say, thanks all. We'll talk to you all next week.